80% of that first call is about finding common ground, that connection. And if you don't find it, it's really difficult to build referral partnerships going forward, because people deal with people, right? They don't want to deal with people that they don't like. And if you don't find that common ground, it's very difficult to associate with that person. And then every single conversation from there, it's just going to be a hard slog trying to figure out how you can work together.
The Digital Pipeline Podcast with James Moore.
Our guest today is Leandri Smith, PR and communications expert with 20 years of experience. She's built 2 businesses primarily through referral partnerships. So she knows a fair bit on the topic of building referral partners that actually lead to referral leads, which is obviously the ultimate game. She's the referral coach here at the Digital Pipeline, working with all of our clients to help them get more referrals. So welcome to the show, Leandri.
Thanks for that lovely intro, James. I feel like that was a very big oversell, but I appreciate it. I see myself more as the humble support versus the professional coach, but hey.
No, stop it. You're awesome. So, and I'm sure everyone's going to get a lot of value out of this. So essentially here today, what we're going to chat about is how to create, a 2-way referral partnership that's a win-win for both parties, and that ultimately leads to, leads for you down your end. So what we're going to be chatting about is the first meeting, which I like to call like the first date with a potential referral partner. And so that might be on the phone, it might be on Zoom, it might be a coffee catch up, but essentially what you want to get out of that first meeting to then, I guess, set the relationship up for success. So probably to start with, Leandri, what's the biggest mistake or mistakes that you see people making when they have that first interaction with a potential referral partner?
Yeah, good question. I think given my experience having dealt with quite a few clients that, have experience from all fields, the mistakes seem to be the same. It's a common ground. And these include stuff like coming across as desperate. Nobody needs it's just not a good look. Their profiles, their own LinkedIn pages, their websites, it's unprofessional, it's not polished, it just doesn't look good. It's not a good sell for them. If their potential referral partner is going to go and look at their platforms, it doesn't scream, "Hey, work with me. I'm amazing. I'm professional." So that's a very bad look to start off with as well. I think another big one is they want without giving first. So they approach the meeting with, "Hey, what have you got referrals for me?" Instead of, "Hey, how can I add value to your business? And then how can we work together?" Another one is not showing interest in your partner at all. You're just in it for those referrals. You're not interested in getting to know the partner professionally, personally, and it's really important to get to know them because that's how you build those long-term relationships. Another one is not knowing the referral partner's industry or understanding what it is that they do, how they operate, just ignorance, not doing their research before a call, going in blind and just missing the mark altogether. Another one is how you mentioned earlier, it's sort of a bit like building a relationship is like dating. And I always say, don't show up empty-handed. A lot of them show up empty-handed. They don't have any value to add. So it's another big one, not to show up empty-handed. And it's not so much for the first call, more for the sort of second and third and going forward for nurturing. But always have some kind of value to add. Otherwise, you're just another to-do list item for this person.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a few. That's sort of the common ones that I see.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for better or worse, we've seen that. We've seen those mistakes in our business, and our job is to try to help correct people when we see that happening. Because if you do any of those things, the relationship's not going to go anywhere, right? So yeah. I guess,
and you know what? It's not always on purpose. Sometimes people are just oblivious. They don't know that they're doing it. It's just being mindful, creating that awareness for them so that they think about it more and think more, how can I give instead of how can I get? Because Correct. When you give in return.
Yeah, so that's a good point. Mindset going into these meetings. So what I guess what do you feel is, well, you've kind of touched on a little bit there, the right mindset, but I guess what overall should they be doing instead of all of those things you just mentioned then?
Yeah, so it's almost the opposite. They need to do the opposite of everything I just said.
Yeah.
So, for example, um, before you jump onto the school, before you go onto this journey of wanting to build referral partners, just check out your own profile. Make sure that it's polished. Is it up to date? Are you putting some content on there? Is your website looking good? Does it say I'm professional, I'm trustworthy? Um, you're in safe hands if you give your clients to me. If it doesn't say that, then you need to go and review it before you actually even approach any partners, because you don't want to look like an unprofessional partner. Then you're not
Mm.
going to get those referrals. Another one is, for example, what I always say to the clients that's really important is 80% of that first call is about finding common ground, that connection. And if you don't find it, it's really difficult to build referral partnerships going forward, because people deal with people, right? They don't want to deal with people that they don't like. And if you don't find that common ground, it's very difficult to associate with that person. And then every single conversation from there, it's just going to be a hard slog trying to figure out how you can work together. So I always say, try and find that common connection before you even jump on your first call. Research the person. Go and see if you have a mutual hobby, or say, for example, I'm a foodie. I really like fine dining. I like nice food. And I go and research my partner, and I see, oh, they actually went to a new restaurant, or they have a food photo or something. Now I know, okay, we've got
Mm.
common ground. They're a foodie. I'm a foodie. Then I can always say, for example, if I'm on the call, hey, I noticed that you went to that new restaurant that opened up last week. What was it like? I love places like that as well. Can you tell me a little bit more or something? And then that person's going to go, oh, yeah, it was really amazing. And as soon as you've got that connection, everything else from there just flows, and it's easier. And it doesn't have to be like really deep, but just some kind of common ground. And I always say personal is better than professional, because it's just, the moment we show that we care on a personal level, professional is easier to go from there. But it's not always possible to build that initial personal connection. So then you can always go for the professional common ground as well. So try and have a look. For example, did they recently write a blog that you can relate to? Could you say something on the call like, hey, I read your blog on LinkedIn, and I think it's fantastic because our customers are also finding these problems, and this is how we're solving it for them, and so forth. So just trying to find that common ground is the very first 15 minutes. That's 80% of your very first call.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. And I think people forget that what you're trying to do, it's relationship marketing, right? You're trying to build a relationship with someone. And if you think back to any relationships, like I guess, if you think about your life partner, or if you've had, serious relationships in the past, probably the first time you met them, you probably spent a fair chunk of that first interaction talking about common things with common ground. You know what I mean? It might be that you love travel, or you're into a certain sport, or whatever it is. And that's how you really connect to start with. And that's what sets that relationship up for success. And
Absolutely.
yeah, it's a really good point. And what we see with our clients that are really successful at this is they make notes, right? They make notes about, what people are into. And when things come up, they basically get in touch with their referral partner. So an example I heard the other day was so one of our clients, he was talking to a potential referral partner, and that potential referral partner was into golf, right? And there was a golf open, I think it might have been the British Open that was on. And literally he just sent the other guy a text message, the potential referral partner, hey, you're watching the golf tournament, did you see that shot? And he responded straight back, and they had a little back and forth. So it's just different ways to connect and stay top of mind with the referral partner. So you made a really good point there. So I
And I
guess,
know the guy you're talking about.
yes, I know you do. I know you do. So let's talk about a couple of scenarios, right? Because you don't always hit it off with someone in that first meeting. So let's say, okay, first scenario is you do hit it off. It goes really well. There's good energy. Really, the goal of that first meeting is to make a connection, right? So if you've made that connection and you feel there's the opportunity to take that further, then obviously you book the next catch up. Ideally in person if you're local. If not, you can do a Zoom call or a Teams call or whatever it might be. We will cover the second call and what to do on that on a separate podcast, but essentially that's scenario one. Scenario 2 is the meeting went okay. It was a bit clunky. You weren't sure whether you actually had a fit, but overall you sort of felt there could be potential, right? So that's scenario 2. What do you do in that one? And then obviously, and I'm going to circle back to this obviously, and then scenario 3, there's no fit, right? You just don't get along. You don't like the vibe. The energy's not great. There's no value alignment. And obviously if that happens, then it's just, hey, great to connect, and you go your separate ways. And that's okay as well, right? Like, because it's a numbers game, and ultimately that relationship's not going to go anywhere.
And you're not going to get along with everybody,
No,
it's just not how the world is.
Exactly. So let's talk about that second scenario. It's a lukewarm meeting. You're not sure where to go to from there. Do I want to meet with this person again? We seem to have some values alignment, but it's a bit clunky. If you're in that situation with someone in a first meet, what do you do?
Right. Look, I'm all about perseverance. Because I always say you never know who that person knows and who they're connected to. So even though you might perceive that they might not be the best partner for you, Rome wasn't built in a day. That partner could just take a little bit longer to come around, and for that relationship to build, and for that trust to be established. So I would say definitely give it at least 2 or 3 meetings before you decide that, because sometimes people just decide too easily that, nah, I'm not going to get along with this person. But you don't know if that person maybe had a bad day, or they're going through something, and that they actually might be a really good long-term partner, but on that specific day, it just didn't go well. So I would definitely recommend another catch-up. Ask a few more questions, get to know them a little bit better. And then if you're 100% sure that this is not going to work out for whatever you think the reason is, that's fair enough. Then you can move on. But don't give up after the first meeting. Try again, and then you decide.
Do you want better quality leads to grow your professional services business? Digital Pipeline guarantees you appointments with businesses that want to refer their trusted clients to you. We set up the meetings and coach you on how to convert them into referral partners. You then get a steady flow of hot referral clients into your business. Sounds interesting? Visit thedigitalpipeline.com for more details. Now back to the show.
So I guess one scenario we hear a little bit is you might meet someone who's a little bit direct, and they'll be straight up and they'll say, listen, I don't have any referrals to give. I'm happy to receive them and give you some sort of financial compensation. But yeah, I just can't give any referrals. Like, if you're in that situation, if someone says that to you, what's your read on that, and how do you handle it?
Yeah. Somebody told me no just means not yet. So I always believe that if they say that they don't have it, look, just put their minds at ease, say, that's not a problem. This is a long-term commitment. It's a long-term relationship I'd like to build. I'd like to add, value to your business, and you can add value to mine in different ways. Referrals isn't the only way. There's a lot of other ways we can collaborate. There's a lot of other ways that we can work together to grow each other's businesses and to potentially generate referrals together. So if they say, and look, they probably won't tell you the reason why. It might be that they already have another referral partner. I always say, if that's the case as well, you could always be plan B if they already have a plan A, because you never know when plan A is going to be sick or busy and they can't help, and then you're going to be plan B and they will come to you. So don't get discouraged. I think that trips a few people up when that line comes up where, sorry, I don't have any referrals to give. That's not the aim of the game. It's not just about referrals. Yes, of course it is about that, but it's about so much more. So put their minds at ease. Say, look, don't worry about the referrals just yet. Let's figure out how we can help each other, either solve some pain points. How can we help collaborate, or how can we collaborate on marketing so that we can reach broader audiences? What else can we do to help each other out? There's much more to be done here than just to give each other referrals.
Yeah. And obviously this is assuming that there's a good fit on the other points. You can see yourself getting along with this person. There's value alignment, all that stuff. I mean, I would probably, I don't know, we disagree on this. I personally would probably, if you can ask it in the right way, I would personally try to just find out where they're coming from on that. ask them something. Oh, that's fine. Like, it's just for me. Like, what's behind that? Like, from your end, or what? Can you explain a little bit more detail what you mean there, just to work out, do they not want to refer because they have a referral partner? Is it because they don't have any leads? Is it because they can't refer out for whatever reason? Maybe it's against the policy of the company. There could be all sorts of reasons. And I
Yeah.
feel like, if you can find that out, it'll just give you a little bit more intel on whether there's long-term potential. But as you alluded to, Leandri, some people do lie. So it's really a gut feel thing. If you feel like maybe they're just saying that because they don't want to, they don't want to set the expectation that they're going to refer straight away, which a lot of people do, then you'd move them to another meeting, because that's just, it's like, dating, someone's playing a bit hard to get, using that analogy again.
Exactly. But sorry, I hear what you're saying, and to a degree, I agree with you, but I also disagree.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because for me, I think that first call, you don't know that person, and I think the moment you start digging too deep, you make them uncomfortable. So when you ask too many questions, like, why can't you refer to me? What's the reason? They might not want to disclose it, and now they're uncomfortable. They're on the back foot, and that's where you don't want them. So that's why I'm always a little bit cautious.
Yeah, I hear. And like a lot of things in life, it's how you deliver that question. And this is like just sales techniques 101. Like, if you're genuinely coming from a inquisitive angle, I'm like, okay, that's cool. But like, and they can see that. Like, you're not asking it to try to get leads out of them. It's more just a curiosity thing. Most people will respond in the right way. But yeah, if you ask them straight out, oh, why's that? You know what I mean? That's going to come across different with okay, that's interesting. I mean, just curious, like, what's behind that question? Or what can you explain a little bit more?
Because the other thing is, the reason they might not want to tell you is they could also be embarrassed, because maybe they really don't have the clients to refer, and they don't want to say that. They don't want to say, look, my business isn't doing that great, so I don't have anyone for you. And again, this is where I say, think about it a step further, because they might not have referrals right now, but you can still benefit your own business by working together with them in other value-added ways. So say, for example, you collaborate, let's say on a podcast or a blog or something, and they share it on these social channels, on their website, wherever they share it, and you share it in the newsletter, you're still getting your brand out there in front of their customers. So there's still benefit in this partnership. It's not a total loss. And then eventually, when they start seeing the value in you, the trust gets built, and there is a referral, then you're going to get that referral. Yeah. That's my thinking of it.
No, I think you made a very good point there. Cool. All right. Well, I guess in summary, my key takeaways from this are, firstly, always prepare for your first meeting with someone. Do a little bit of research beforehand so you can really hit the ground running on that meeting, and create a connection more quickly. I guess the second thing is, the objective of the first meeting isn't to get referrals. It is not to get referrals, guys. It is to make a connection, work out if there's value alignment, if you can potentially work with each other, and ultimately get a second meeting, right?
Yes,
and then the third thing is, even if you're not sure, if you feel there is a connection, and there's the potential, catch up with them again, because as you alluded to, Leandri, you never really know who they're connected with or what's happening from their end. And you at least deserve, or you at least warrant to catch up with them again to make sure you've explored all the different angles.
Exactly. And one thing I didn't say that I'll just add in here as well, it's really important. I call them the networker's personality traits. So when you jump on a call, have these personality traits in mind, because there's proof that people with these traits are the most successful networkers, and they have the most successful partners. And these traits are things like, they're supportive. They're supportive of the partner. So already, you're compassionate, you're understanding, you're listening. I always say, the other person, your referral partner's coffee should be cold, because they should be doing all the talking and you should be doing all the listening. So if your coffee is not, if their coffee is not cold, then you're not doing it right, then you're talking too much. So you want to ask a question and then carefully listen to all of their answers, because that's how you're going to get the information that you need to enable further steps with this relationship. Then there's also other traits like, they're trustworthy, outgoing, positive. Positivity is a big one as well. and caring, knowledgeable, a very important one, know their industry, know what they're about. They're proactive, reliable, and the biggest one is patient. It's not a quick fix. This is a long-term thing that we're doing. And the beauty of it is it's the gift that keeps on giving when you do it right, but it does take time and effort, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. We're trying to build a golden goose that's going to keep giving you golden eggs forever. That's the goal with referral partners.
Exactly.
Awesome,
And the
Leandri.
added value to that is you get to make good friends as well.
Yeah,
Friends for life.
that's true. So not only you're getting the best quality leads you can because they're referrals, it's fun working with other people, and you get a lot out of that. So I agree with that.
Yeah. Additional support systems,
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Cool, Leandri. Well, that's it. Well, thanks for coming onto the meeting today. And yeah, really appreciate your time.
You're welcome. No worries. And thanks for having me. I can talk about this for for hours. So anytime.
Thanks.
You've been tuned into the Digital Pipeline podcast with James Moore, your go-to for business development and marketing insights. Don't forget to hit subscribe to stay ahead of the game. Visit thedigitalpipeline.com for more details. Thanks for listening.